This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, welcome back to public session.
Sorry, we're late.
Yeah, apologize we're a little late. It is 1:45 p.m. We'll go ahead and move into our compliance actions. Case number 3941.
Case number 3941, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1B, 6 violations of ORS 687.0211C, 1 violation of OAR 334-040-0010 sub 12 for a total civil penalty in the amount of $8,000.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4032.
Case 4032, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1A for a total civil penalty in the amount of $1,000.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 3912.
In case 3912, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of OA.
Yeah, there's some first.
Pardon me, I redact everything I've said. I move to rescind the previous motion made at our last board meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Case number 3912. Thank you, Mitch. I move to issue a proposed action for one violation of OAR 334-040-0010 sub 12. One violation of OAR 334-040-0010 sub 17. One violation of OAR 334-010-0025 sub 8. One violation of OAR 334-020-0005 sub 1A for a total civil penalty in the amount of $1,000.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I just want to remind everybody, if you could make sure you vocally vote for the recording. Case 4039.
Case 4039, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1A for a total civil penalty in the amount of $1,000.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 3919.
Case 3919, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1 sub B, 4 violations of ORS 687.021 sub 1 sub C, 1 violation of OAR 334-040-0010 sub 12 for a total civil penalty of $6,000.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4052.
Case 4052, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1 sub A for a total civil penalty of $1,000.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 3928.
Case 3928, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1B, 10 violations of ORS 687.021 sub 1C, 1 violation of OAR 334-040-0010 sub 12 for a total civil penalty in the amount of $12,000.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Case 4040.
Case 4040, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1A for a total civil penalty in the amount of $1,000.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 3973.
In case 3973, we accept voluntary surrender of license.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 3836.
Case 3836, I move to dismiss.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4051.
Case 4051, we move to, okay, yep. NOPA for one violation of ORS 687.
No, one second.
Second.
Better concern.
Second.
The second one.
The second one? Okay, ORS 687051. Okay, sorry. In the case 4051, we move to a letter of concern.
I move to issue a letter of concern.
I move to issue a letter of concern and show the report to the Oregon Health Authority of the licensing board.
Yes. Can I get a second?
Go.
Yeah, I second it. I was just waiting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4002.
4002, I move to accept a voluntary surrender.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 3970.
In case number 3970, I move to make a motion to require the respondent to complete a mental health status exam pursuant to ORS 687.081 sub 1C by a provider approved by this board.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4033.
That's mine. In case 4033, I move to dismiss.
Aye, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4042.
Case 4042, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1 sub A, one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1 sub B for a total civil penalty of $2,000.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4076.
Case 4076, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1B, 10 violations of ORS 687.02. Excuse me, I need to redact all of that. My first motion, I realize, is to combine case 4076 and case 4077 together. Can we get a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Case number 4076 and previously 4077. I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1B, 10 violations of ORS 687.021 sub 1C, one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1D, one violation of OAR 334-040-0010 sub 12, one violation of OAR 334-040-0010 sub 11, for a total civil penalty in the amount of $14,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4077. Action. Case 3958.
Case 3958, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1 sub B, violations of ORS 687.021 sub 1 sub C, and one violation of OAR 334-040-0010 sub 12 for a total civil penalty of $10,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4095.
Case 4095, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1 sub A for a total civil penalty of $1,000.
Wilson.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 3964.
Case 3964, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1B, 9 violations of ORS 687.021 sub 1C, one violation of OAR 334-040-0010 sub 12 for a total civil penalty in the amount of $11,000, and refer to law enforcement.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4098.
No, oh, sorry. I'm reading wrong.
Okay, 4098.
Case 409.
Apologize.
Case 4098, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1A for a total civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 and refer to law enforcement.
Carol?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4078.
Case 4078, I move to approve the licensure application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 3943.
Case 3943, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1B, 3 violations of ORS 687.021 sub 1C, one violation of OAR 334-040-0010 sub 12 for a total civil penalty in the amount of $5,000 and refer to law enforcement.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 4107.
Case 4107, I move to issue a notice of proposed action for one violation of ORS 687.021 sub 1A for a total civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 and refer to law enforcement.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Case 3870.
3870. We move to dismiss the case.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we will move again into our public comments. Kaite, how many do we have here?
One.
Just one? Okay. Is that Seth?
Shane.
Shane?
Sean.
Sean, sorry. Did you want to address the board?
I do, and I'm going to apologize in advance. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I apologize if this isn't exactly the forum for this. We're just not really sure where to go. I'm an LMT and I own a small business in Eugene. I had a meeting with 4 other LMT business owners last week, and we are having some concerns that a lot of people around the state are receiving no-cause contract terminations from Pacific Source, and they primarily seem to be people affiliated with billing their services to the Oregon Health Plan. And we're trying to connect with other LMTs across the state, and we aren't sure how to do that, but it seems like something is happening with the Oregon Health Plan at the state level, and they're vastly reducing the network, and we're just like, we don't know where to go with this or how to figure out what is going on at the state level.
Sean, I think, this is Beckett speaking. Is this Sean Guerra?
Yeah, hi.
I just want to make sure we got that because you weren't here at the beginning session. Would you be able to call Director Ruark to talk about that?
Yeah, totally. Who should I call, did you say?
Yeah, so you can just call the board offices and ask for Director Bob Ruark.
Okay.
And talk to you about it, and we'll figure something out for you. Maybe I can give you some direction or some help that way, so. Tomorrow will be best. I'm in a meeting today, but tomorrow will be better if you could do it anytime. It should be in the office all day tomorrow, so.
Oh, it's you. You're Bob. You're the person that all. Okay, got it. Yeah, and I'm sorry. I'm sure that's not what this public comment time is really for, but we were all like, all right, the meeting's coming up, so we may as well hop in and see what we
That's
do.
fine.
Perfect time.
Okay, I will call. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, and if we don't have any other members of the public here, we will go ahead and go into our work item review.
Well, I do have a question. I'm sorry.
Is it about that?
I saw a letter written to Ikaite about the mandatory reporter being early on in we seemed like we skipped it.
No, you talked about it.
Yeah, correspondent.
It was the correspondence in the public comment that happened at the first part of the meeting.
Since it's not a law yet, it's
All right, got it. Thank you.
premature.
Okay, back to work item review.
So I had told you I was going to take the frequently asked questions and have you review them at the business meeting. You asked for some lead time to send you staff's recommendations, so I got that on my work item. Maria asked to log how much, or no, I think it was Carol. Somebody asked to log how much time staff spends on the background checks. Yeah, Carol. So we can compare it to what it might save us doing the wrap back. And then you talked to me about when I did the affirmative action report to get some help in maybe the descriptive part of it. So that's the work item reviews I have.
Anyone else have anything for work items?
Just the entire package of discipline that you provided for me for the next several weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
And Angela's got a couple. Yes.
I apologize, before we go into announcements, a typo. Can anybody tell me the next meeting date? July.
12th, I believe.
It is July 14th.
Thank you.
Like that.
Okay. For our announcements, our next meeting will be July 14th at 9 a.m. at the Hampton Inn and Suites in Salem. The public are, as always, invited to join in person or virtually. Any other announcements? Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Carol, you can have that one. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is now 2:05 PM and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all.
You did fast.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
See you, Carol.
Bye.